Welcome once again to the Sonya Dungee podcast, where conversation is always the essence of the soul. I am your host, Sonya Dungee, and yes, of course, we're still bringing that heat to the IG, Facebook, YouTube, and now TikTok streets. Tonight's episode 173 is being brought to you by Always Destined for Greatness LLC. Boy, oh boy, we have an amazing podcast tonight. So, as we begin this evening, I would love to ask you to put in the chat where your geographic origin is. Please state where you are tuning in live from. And I'm going to be popping in to see if you are with us live. Okay, so we have Harlem is in the building. I see you, Harlem. Welcome. Welcome, and I can see you, I can hear you, and I feel you. Thank you so much for joining. We are going to have an incredible night, everyone. Grateful evening, absolutely 100%. Thank you. And we are going to get started on time, and as others are joining, we will welcome them as well. But just keep them coming. Let me know where you are tuning in from. That is important to me. So while you are stating your geographic area, I am going to share with you some fascinating and some jaw dropping information about our special guest who will be blessing us tonight in being transparent and being vulnerable and being her true, authentic self. I have the distinct pleasure of never meeting in person, but she is now a boss warrior queen. Um, and I am going to read her full bio. And excuse me for reading it, but it was too much to remember. So, our special guest tonight is Rosie LASTRA, and she is a transformational coach, certified Reiki healer, and the visionary founder of Jeremy's Unity Flight LLC, a healing movement dedicated to uniting Western medicine with holistic and spiritual practices. She holds an associate's in computer accounting. I got to remember that. And a bachelor's in business management, and spent years as an accounting controller before her life shifted through a divine dream on January the 9th of 2015. In that vision, God told her she was chosen to bring unity to humanity in faith and healing, and revealed that her son Jeremy would play a pivotal role in the mission. Since that day, Rosie has been preparing for this calling. She committed herself to deep personal growth, studied under some of the best leaders in personal development, spiritually, and integrative healing, and began helping others along the way. When Jeremy later passed from a rare and aggressive cancer, his life became the catalyst that fulfilled God's promise. Jeremy's Unity Flight LLC was born. Through her journals, teaching courses, speaking engagements, and community programs, Rosie shares a message of resilience and sacred healing. She helps people integrate Western medicine with holistic approaches such as Reiki, nutrition, and energy healing, bridging the gap between science and spirit. So, without further ado, please welcome Rosie LASTRA.
Hi, how you doing, Sonia? Pleasure to
Welcome.
be on here, my love.
I am doing absolutely wonderful, even better now that you are here. Thank you so much for saying yes.
Thank
For those
you.
who don't know, you're welcome. I actually met you in a mutual class room setting. We actually have the same mentor and coach, and when you she shared her story out loud, I immediately reached out to her because we just had to have her here because this is a story that needs to be heard. But unfortunately, she didn't see the message for a while. And then when she did see the message and contacted me, I ended up on her very first episode of the Rosie Lastra podcast, which recorded last Friday. So she wasn't getting away without coming on, and she had already agreed to. So that is the reason why she is here tonight. So I want to start out by asking you to share with the world what we don't know about you, what wasn't discussed in your bio, more or less. Um, Please just introduce yourself. And I apologize because I should have shut my phone
No
off, but
problem.
please introduce yourself and allow us to become more familiar with you. Will you please?
Sure. My name again is Rosie Lastra, and yes, January 9th of 2015, God put a vision in my head, and it was that it was time for the world to unite. And part of it had to do with nutrition and health, and how you got medicine and Western medicine going against each other. And truth be said, that there's a time and place for everything. And he was just letting me know that unity heals. Uh, Fighting and all that causes problems. It's people shouldn't have to choose between one or the other. They should be able to integrate. They should be able to do whatever they have to do to be able to survive. Through this journey, God's shown up on along the way so many times, and He's helped me out in so many ways. There's been a lot of things from, according to my stepmom's oncologist, based on the fact I did an alkaline diet through her treatment. He felt that her life got extended over a year because of it. My son went through chemo, and through the chemo's aggressive, so he suffered a lot of pain, troubles through it. However, I spoke to his oncologist, and even though the oncologist told me he couldn't endorse it, I explained to him that I had seen results and I wanted to put my son on the alkaline diet. His response on me: "It's healthier. Go ahead and go for it." I did it with him. Because of that, 90 days later, that same oncologist asked my son, are you still doing that diet with your mother? His response was yes. When he said yes, the doctor turned around and said, well, continue with it, because what I've given you only stops the growth. It doesn't reduce the tumors, and your tumors have to significantly shrunk. So, and it's been a lot of other factors that have happened where I've seen people. I had a young lady in Texas. She had stage 4 cancer. Called me up one day. I got on the phone to her, met her through a mutual friend, or actually her brother, who was a good friend of mine, and asked me to share what I had with her. And I did. And yes, she was stage 4 cancer, and unfortunately she was at the end, and unfortunately she still went. But what took place was that when I put her on the diet and I sent her my products and stuff, her response to me was, OMG, for the first time ever in 4 years, she was able to go outside and be in the sun. She was able to bask in the sun. She was able to feel happier and more energy than she had ever felt. So my whole thing is, whether you go or you don't, you want to make their last moments as beautiful as possible. So I just believe that bringing them together helps people in amazing ways. And I believe that God's had me doing this journey, and like you said, in the bio, I've been doing nothing but preparing for this moment. And unfortunately, Jeremy passed last year. And yes, I went through a whole episode of grief where I didn't do nothing but stay in my home. I went from a person that never watched TV to binge watching TV. The shows I hadn't seen in over a decade, I watched in literally 8 months. And through that period, I gained almost 100 pounds. And one day I heard his voice tell me, "Mom, this is not you. I'm good. I'm okay. Get your butt up here. Start living." And that was when I made the choice to reach out to a mentor, which is the same mentor you been with. And that's when I decided it's time to take this to the next level. And that's when I made the decision. God told me that Jeremy would be a huge part of it. Here it is. And we created Jeremy's Unity Flight, and the rest is history. And it's going to be an amazing, amazing road. So that's my story, my love.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And before I dive into that, the things that you have mentioned, just reading some of the comments. Um, Happy seeing you. Grateful night, Rosie. Thank you for sharing with us tonight, Rosie. Your journey and story matters, and you are valuable. Okay, so they're already bringing the value there, and I didn't even ask them for that. That's an automatic. I normally ask, and so I will. In the event that we have new viewers or we have viewers who will be watching um, the um, the replay. So if you find value, please drop that in the comments. Value. If there's something that's relatable, please do that as well. If you had a breakthrough or aha moment, most certainly drop that in the comments, because we want to know, because you're important to us, and I want you to know that I see you and I hear you and I feel you. So those comments are very valuable and they're taken seriously. So back to what we were talking about. Everything that you mentioned thus far is absolutely incredible, and I did warn the viewers that it would be some jaw dropping and like some wows. And so with you, I want to first thank you for being vulnerable and just really sharing your story, because it is important for the viewing audience to hear, because there's somebody out there that is going through the same situations and they can relate, and they can know that they will be okay. And so going back to the story, so when did you first realize that you had that gifting where you could help people, such as your bonus mom,
Hmm.
as I say, because everybody who knows me, I don't talk of step. When I step, to me, is not a good thing. It's not viewed very well. So your bonus mom is what I choose to stay and view. So when did you realize, though, that you had this gifting, that there was something that was so incredible that you can share with the world, especially with uh, starting out with your bonus mom?
Well, it's been the journey. It's been constant, amazing things. Number one, shortly, probably within a year or so of my bonus mom, I actually had the pleasure of meeting a scientist who studied water for over 50 years. And he actually has 20 years worth of documented
Mhm.
studies that he did with the University of Miami, showing that cancer cancer dies as long as you maintain your body at 7.5 and above for 90 days. Yes, his studies unfortunately were not published, and unfortunately the funding did go away, so he never was able to publish them. But along with him, I also met a couple that are amazing. They had told me a story that her husband was diagnosed with a cancer, a tumor, an operable tumor, and was literally given 90 days of life. And she put him on an alkaline diet. And 90 days later, not only was cancer free, but it's been 5 years that that man is not had no cancer. So, and aside from that, there's also other amazing holistic remedies that I know work. I've seen the benefit of blue light therapy in my son. I seen it in other people, and I just felt that calling. I mean, from that dream, and the road, everything, all my whole road has been leaning me more and more that way. I constantly get people asking me about different things: energy healing, Reiki, sound therapy. There's so many amazing ways that are from ancient wisdom that do work, and
Wow.
that's just a calling I felt along the way as it's been happening. And then, of course, when it took place with my bonus mom, that was like a massive God. This is real. And from then on, I've had, like I said, I had that lady over in Texas, that young lady in Texas. I've had my son,
Mhm.
and I've had people that have reached out to me and asked me for different things that I've sent them out, and have told me they've had good results from it.
That is incredible. Phenomenal. Um, so I want to, and thank you for the sharing. And by the way, you are doing outstanding. You are outstanding. And just with the bonus, I mean, I'm not expecting you to necessarily say that. You say what's in your heart. It's just for me, I think of negative things and associated with, I guess it's a part of that societal hypnotism. And for me, I associate it because of the things that happen in my life in more in a negative way. I had a bonus mom too, and she was my mom. She was like a mom to me, and
Well,
it's just that step innuendo kind of just falls short with me, and that's it. But if you say it, that's fine. You don't have to apologize whatsoever. You, like I said to you before, say what comes from the heart, and I'm more than okay with that. Okay, because as you
uh,
know, we don't script things here. We speak raw, we speak honest and open, candidly, and so it's fine. And I'm sorry if I made you feel like you had to take back that word. You never ever have to do that. Not on this podcast ever.
I
And
appreciate it.
speaking of our mentor, he's actually on. He's on right now. So hello, Mr. Darren Walker. He is our mentor, coach, family, friend, and with his help, he is the reason why I am able to be a host on the Sonya Dungee podcast. And before we get too far in, because I definitely, there's so many things I want to talk about, I just want to share a little bit of my story. And then the viewers will have a better understanding as to uh, how we are on the same path. Um, for me, it's not obviously more on the medical, any of that, because that's not my niche per se. But what I'm about to say and will totally correlate with everything that we are going to be talking about moving forward, and that is over 4.5 years ago, January 23rd of 2021, during the height of the pandemic, having been told less than 48 hours before that my dad had 6 months to live, which came totally out of left field. As I sat there, um, unvolunteering, it wasn't meant for me to be there. I didn't want to be there. I didn't say, "Hey, we're gonna do this." I didn't want to be there because I knew what the end result was, and the end result was this. So on that Saturday morning of January 23rd, 2021, in the Veterans Administration Hospital in Northport, New York, I was forced to sit there at my dad's bedside. I didn't have a choice in the matter because I knew what the outcome was. Um, while I held back the tears, I held my dad's hand. I didn't even want to do that because I knew it was almost like I'm encouraging what is about to happen. And if I don't do it, it won't happen, because that's where your mind goes in the midst of these things but that are going on. Um, So as I held my dad's left hand, I just looked at him and I saw this tear come down his cheek. And it was at that moment that he took his last breath on this earth and his first breath in heaven. And as a result of that, in that moment, I just started spiraling out of control. I screamed, I hollered, I begged, I pleaded. I just, please, no, like this is a bad dream. This is not happening. And my dad went to be with the Lord. And as we all know, there is no rule book, no how to, no instructional manual. You don't know what to do. Okay. Yes, it's part of life. We are born and then we all will die. But when it's happening in that moment and it's somebody that you love more than anything, and in real time, it's going down, it's unfathomable. And as a result of that, for 342 days after that, I was stuck, broken, isolated, didn't know if I was going or I was coming. I was a gerbil on a wheel, just performing, doing the best I can day after day, working from home, shutting down everything at the end of the night, going back in my room, shutting the door. You only saw me if I was trying to get to that cemetery, because there I felt like there my dad was. I felt a closeness to him. I just needed to be with my dad. And I felt like that was the place in those moments. But it wasn't till enough became enough and I couldn't do it anymore. And I knew that my dad wouldn't expect that of me. He would want me to be happy. He would want me to be with my family and carry on his name and do things and joke around, because that was the dad that I had. And when enough became enough, I sought out help. I got my coach slash my mentor, Mr. Darren Walker. Um, I inherited the Be Iconic community. I had spoke to our mentor, and I made sure that I took the very last appointment on December 31st of 2021. And because I said to myself, this is the way I'm going to start the new year. I'm going to have this appointment and I'm going to be able to move forward. And I did. And he told me within that time frame that we had that one-on-one, if I was coachable, if I was teachable, if I showed up, if I did the work, he was going to work with me. He was going to help me. And in my mind, it was like, oh yeah, I'm going to show him I could do this. Yes, yes, I could do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to show him something. But then I realized it wasn't about him. He was the vessel to help me get to the next level and the next and the next. But it was about me. It was about how much I wanted it for me. And in that, I stayed coachable. I stayed teachable. I didn't miss a class. I was there. You name it, I was there. For every class after that, every new class, I was there. Because I didn't want to lose focus. I wanted to stay intentional. And I knew if I didn't keep showing up, that could very well happen, because we get caught in this society hypnotism business and we venture off into things that we necessarily don't have any business venturing off to. And I didn't want to be that person.
Right.
And as a result of putting in time, okay, I had to put in the work. I had to invest in myself in order to do it and lean on my community, because Lord knows willpower alone, as they say, will never outdo community. And it did not work for me. I couldn't do it by myself, because if I could have done it, I would have, and I wouldn't have been stuck for so long. But as a result of that, I knew that I had a purpose. I knew I had a calling. I knew that 4 times over, death could have taken me, and it did not. So I wanted to find my purpose. And when I did, I've never looked back, because I never wanted anybody to suffer the way I was suffering. I was suffering in silence. I didn't want to tell anybody, because I didn't want my family to grieve more. So I thought I was doing the right thing by not telling them. It wasn't that I didn't have a support system. I chose not to lean on that support system of family. So as a result, now I'm sitting in front of you with a big smile on my face, excited because I get to help those that are stuck and that are broken go from that same grief and the hardship and those life challenges that I had faced, that suffering in silence with that no direction and no end in sight, who are ready to move forward so that they can become resilient and they can become empowered with that attitude of expectation and of excellence, reaching economic independence so that they can be truly destined for their greatness and walk fully in their God given purpose. And so, as a result of that, this is where the connect comes between you and I. But before I move forward with that, I just want to hop into the comments because I can see the comments are being dropped and I don't want to miss any. And we have Jeremy's unique fight is a victory in your unique journey. God is using you both. God bless you. With the drop in the value, most inspiring. Um, we have some new viewers. I do believe they are also coming from your realm as well. So I want to welcome y'all, and my hope is that this will not be the first and only time. You will continue to come back week after week on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So now we want to move forward. So I shared my story so that people can understand the connection between you and I. And that connection is we both have gone through grief. And as a result of you and I both going through grief, we are now boss warrior queens. We're overcomers. We've gone through the trials, we've gone through the tribulations, not to say that we won't again. We're still developing, we're still healing. It's still a process. There's no time frame. But my dad went to be with the Lord. So it was, for me, it was my dad. For you, it was your son. And I want to commend you on your strength and on the ability to take this grief and brokenness and move forward, never forgetting, but turning the trials and the tribulations and the grief into a positive in order for you to help those that you were called to serve. And for the viewers who don't know, the anniversary of your son's passing, if I remember correctly, is September 12th. Is that correct?
15th, September
I'm
15th.
sorry, the 15th of
Yeah.
this year. So it hasn't even
Yes,
been a
ma'am.
year. And
No, it was not.
look at you. Look at, I wasn't there that like you are now in that time frame. It takes a strong individual to do that. And again, thank you so much. So now we want to move forward and let's talk about grieving. Let's talk about the grief while navigating through the heartache and the brokenness to the healing. So, if you can share your perspective of how you were able to move forward.
Well, number one, I feel that I start off with a very strong mindset because of the road God already had me on. I've I've walked. I mean, I've trained for a decade on self development and spirituality. I've always been very spiritually driven. So I knew that wasn't me. I knew that couldn't stay like that forever. I knew that this was part of the journey. And you don't want to accept that your boy, your baby, is taken from you. But at the same time, you're grateful and thankful for the years you've had. And through the training, I've learned that it's basically CYP, which is change your perspective. So you got to learn to focus on the good, not the bad, and what you focus on expands. So when I finally made the decision after hearing Jeremy and made the decision I had to change my perspective, that's when I reached out to Darren. That's when I went ahead and went from
Mhm.
staying in the house to walking every day to working on my health to going back to eating nutritional, healthy foods to living in. You never get over the pain. You just switch it. You just change it. You learn to deal with it. You learn to the almost welcome it, because it's those moments that help you grow. It's those moments that make you the person you need to become to be able to help the people you need to help. A lot of times, things that happen to us is not about us. It's about the people we're getting ready to bless. And in this world, we're here for each other and to help each other. And we can't help others if we don't go through it ourselves. So I really feel that it's just about you. We gotta live in love. We gotta live in joy. We gotta be in blessings. Mel Robbins one time said on a TED Talk that science actually did the numbers, and they figured out why we're here when we're here. And they found out that the probability of us being here is a 1 in 400 trillion possibilities. So we are literally miracles walking. So if we're miracles walking, we should be in joy. We should be feel blessed every second, every minute that we have. And everything in our
Yes.
lives. My mama used to always say that there's no bad that for good doesn't come. And I've noticed this. Sometimes it takes a long time to figure out what the good in it is. But if you look deep enough and you look hard enough, you find it. And one of the things that I could tell myself, Jeremy left, okay, but he's not gone. And his love will be with me forever. And he's with me every minute and every day. And I've seen it in all sorts of ways. So I just know in my heart that what's getting ready to happen is something so beautiful, so wonderful. And Jeremy's got my back. I mean, he's right back there, but he's in
Yes.
my heart. He's there all over this, and God's all over this story. He's all over it. He started it in 10 years, over 10 years ago. And I'm looking forward to what's getting ready to happen to come. And Jeremy's life is going to be a legacy that's going to save so many lives that I feel blessed to have been that warrior. I feel blessed to have had that boy in my life. So I mean, I don't know what else I can say, Sonia. Thank
Yes.
you.
Absolutely. That was beautiful. And I don't know if you're able to see, but that handsome gentleman in behind Rosie, because he's always got her back, like she
Right there.
said, he's right there with the butterflies. And you're right. You're right. And again, there is no right way, there's no wrong way, there's nothing. The process is different for everyone.
That's true.
Okay. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to move. You have to be able to, as they say, train the brain, that mindset shift. And the same thing happened to me. When enough became enough, that was when my mind shift started really moving forward here and saying, hey, we got to do something. um, and in that, um, one can uh, influence, they can alter their perspective on uh, the challenges, the opportunities, the self-worth. All of that is all in that perspective mind shift. You're either going to stay victim to the negative mindset, okay, or you're going to eventually in due time move forward to more of a perspective mindset. Okay, that fixed mindset will do it to you. And it was doing it to me for almost that year.
Yeah,
Okay.
me too.
So, yes. But just in that time from when I first met you to now, I can see the growth. I can hear it. I mean, girl, you have the website, you got so many things going on that I don't want to tell them about because I want you to tell them about, because you know me, I was all up in that website. I was looking at the pictures, I was reading everything. Um so let's talk a little bit about that. But before we do, I just want to jump back because the comments are still flowing, and I was sitting there writing names of individuals that have joined, because this is amazing. There are people that are joining for the very first time. And once again, I welcome you to return every Wednesday at 8 p.m. We do this every week. That's why we're at episode 173. No bragging, but it's very important for us to show up. It's very important because you never know what somebody is in need of. Because if I would have had a podcast that I could have gone to and known about, I would have been there viewing just as you are. I would have been able to reach out and listen and go
Mm.
back to previous recordings and know, hey, I'm not by myself. And I can rely on my family, and it's okay to tell them, and they're going to be okay hearing it. And because it made me sick. I held that in so long. I was losing weight and didn't even realize it. Now, had I been trying to lose the weight, it wouldn't have happened. But I had people either gain weight or they lose it. For me, I wasn't eating anything, and I didn't even realize, it wasn't even registering that, hey, you didn't eat anything at all today, you know. And I'd sometimes be on the phone, like especially in the beginning, trying to call everybody, call my sister, be on the same page with everything, every move that I was making when it came to my dad's, because we did a celebration of life. Because I didn't want my siblings to ever feel like they were disincluded because I'm in New York and haha, you're not. So I'm gonna run things. That was not me. So everybody knows my sister, Coach Dawn Allen from Stay Sexy Wellness, who will be coming on next 9 o'clock. So check her out too. I was constantly on the phone from early morning to late at night. How you doing? What do you think about this? What do you think about this? What do let's do this. What's your idea? Da 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 da. And it was all consuming. And then I had another sister in Sweden, and I'm trying to same time her. And then my brother was having a hard time. So we really just kind of told him, and he kind of just went with whatever we decided with him in mind, because we knew he just wasn't at a place where he could really handle it. But we did respect him and have him put his input in when he was able to. But I say all of that because if you're listening out there and you're relating, and it's okay, you don't have to comment if you don't feel like comfortable, but you can DM me, you can DM Rosie, you can reach out. Okay, we're here to help you, but you have to be at that stage where you're ready to move forward. Because as much as I want to pull people off the struggle bus, and as much as I fought um with my mentor, but not out loud, but in my mind I'm like, no, 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 I can do this. Like he's like, saying, Sonya, you have a heart to serve, and I know you want to help everybody, but they have to be at a point where they're ready. And I'm saying to myself, no, 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 I'm gonna help them. You watch, I'm gonna help them. And then the day and the realization was, no, I can't. And now I don't want to pull anybody off the struggle bus, especially if they're not ready. And I don't want to wait at the bus stop until they're ready. When they're ready, and if it's you, if when you're ready, if you're not ready now, you know how to reach me. And I'll be more than happy to get you going. So, Rosie, so with that, I want to say, I want to ask you, um, what exactly is Jeremy's Unity Flights? If you can explain where that came from, what that means, and how does one reach you?
Okay. Jeremy's Unity Flight came because of the fact that time and time again, I've seen it literally with my son, uh, when he was going with my stepmom to begin with. When I put her on the alkaline diet, It literally took us between anywhere between 2,500 to almost $4,000 a month to be able to get all the products and get everything that we needed for her to be able to be healthy nutrition wise and be able to fight the cancer. And my son, it literally took the same. And I just felt a calling, that something inside my heart just kept saying what. And I keep hearing like Western medicine doctors say, oh no, even when I broke my leg, and I brought, at the time I was doing a 40-day fasting with God, and I brought products to with me for nutritional purposes, and that was all I was having. It was I was a fasting with God, that the only thing I would have was 2 protein shakes with greens a day. And when I brought them in, they told me, oh, no, no, you can't have that here. And I said, wait a minute. I'm like, this is my only nutrition. This is the only thing I had. I said, look, I said, get that director or whoever you need to get. But if I can't have these products here, I need to figure something out. So they went and they got the director. The director came out. She looked over the products, and we talked. And she's like, okay, you can have it. So I was able to combine Western medicine and Eastern medicine. I was able to bring them both together. And people just take no for an answer when doctors say, "Oh, you can't have that here," or "No, I can't endorse it." Because when Jeremy's oncologist told me, "No, I can't endorse it," I could have very easily said, "Okay, well, I guess we can't do it." No, I explained to him that I had seen results, and that I just wanted him to know that I was going to do that diet with my son, so that didn't conflict with what he was doing. His response was, "Go ahead." So if you don't just settle on the first no and you bring it together, and I've seen Jeremy when with this try with, well, my mom Lena was my stepmom. She, and by the way, she was more like a mother to me too. I saw how that she was only given 2 months, and here she lasted almost a year and a half. So all because of what we did. So why do people have to choose between one or the other? Why not bring them together? Why not being able to navigate? And I feel there's a need out there. Feel people need to be guided and helped learn to be able to know how to speak to these doctors, be able and that's the other thing, because like when my dad, you said your dad passed away. My dad also passed away a few years back. And my dad went through myelodysplastic syndrome, which caused him to have a lot of blood transfusions. Well, I found out in the process, because he was also on my supplements and everything, and I was giving him a lot of greens, and I found out because of myelodysplastic syndrome, he couldn't have a lot of greens. So what did I do? I eliminated the greens. I asked the doctor to go over the products and make sure that there was nothing in those products that would hurt him. The doctor did. He went over the products. We deciphered which ones he could take. I was given the green light to go ahead and let him take the ones. And I just feel that through that whole transition, and made him feel better. And he even said it made him feel better. And I've heard so many times, it's amazing. It's a miracle. That don't usually happen. With Jeremy, his liver and kidneys had failed at one point, and he was in the hospitalized. And I went ahead and did blue light therapy on him, and went ahead and did Reiki, and had even a hospital attendant come and do Reiki too. And they went from, oh, this isn't working, the dialysis not working, nothing is working. The doctor was even talking about sending him home on hospice, to after I did the Reiki and the blue light, and for a couple of days, all of a sudden now it went from uh, he may have to go home on hospice to OMG, it's amazing. They're reacting. It's all working. And seeing these things, I know you could bring it together and make it work. And unfortunately, he had to go. But you know what? He lived an extra 4 months. He was able to give us an extra time. And during that transition, it made it a little bit easier. I mean, and that's all you can hope for. All you can hope for is that they're able to be here with us as long as they can, or if not, at least make their last days of life as much quality life as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Absolutely.
that's that's what Jeremy's Unity Flight's all about. And of course, helping people dealing through grief as well, and navigating through grief also, because I know there's a lot of moms that have lost their children, and after me experiencing, I know I can guide and help through that. Is it going to stop the hurt? No, never. Okay, and it's not my intention for that. But I do know that we're all here for a reason. We're all here for a purpose. Everything happens for a reason. So we could shift things that are bad to good. Hallelujah and amen.
Yes.
So that's what Jeremy's Unity Flight is all about. And you can reach me. I do have jeremy'sunityflight.com. I also have Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and they're all at Rosie Lastra. And you could also find me on LinkedIn as well on Rosie Lastra. And all of them, I also have Jeremy's Unity Flight as well.
Thank you so
Uh,
much for that. And as a parent, we're not supposed to bury our children, and so when that happens, it's unthinkable, unimaginable. I mean, I honestly would never say I know what that feels like, because thank God I don't. But I can relate in the sense that I know how it feels when ultimately the end result, what it could possibly be. And for me, I only had 48 hours to know this, and it hit hard. And so that's what I said about the grief and the similarity between us two. And the fact of the matter is that we had the power, I call it, and I'll say why, to be able to shift our perspective, to be able to get to where we are today. And when I say power, is because I'm all about, not we would never not help a man, but I talk about from my experience, and my experience as a woman is a being a boss overcomer, which made me a boss warrior queen. And so that's where I speak from the heart. That's where I teach from. And I'm talking about my experience specifically. Um, I've had men reach out to me and I've helped them. It's just that it seems that relatability is more female to female, male to male. So, um, with that, now we're getting ready to conclude reluctantly, but I don't want to take up viewers' time, because I'm excited we have new viewers, and I'm so grateful that they're here tonight. Um, on the different platforms, I'm popping back and forth, and I want to make sure that I don't miss anyone. Thank you for joining once again. They're they're saying that it's inspiring, but still getting the value, validity, which is absolutely great. That's the reason why we're doing this. But I also want to ask you this. Um, I know because I read it, and I love that correlation that you made. But you use the symbol of an eagle, okay, and you use the symbol of a butterfly. And so, can you share with our viewers that correlation as to why you use both of those in the Jeremy Unity flight?
that actually came from the divine, my love. That was most divine ever. Because Jeremy's favorite, favorite animal has always been the American bald eagle. And on the day he passed, which happened to be at 3 o'clock on a Sunday, there happened to be an eagle's nest, an American bald eagle's nest outside his hospice center. So that was very, very monumental to me. And then after he passed, we had this monarch butterfly following us. It went from the hospice center to my daughter-in-law's, and we were at my daughter-in-law's, and there it was. And then hours later, I went to my other son's house, which was 30 minutes away. And lo and behold, if there's not a monarch fluttering, I mean, and amazingly close to us. It wasn't like far away. No, it was like right on us.
Wow.
And from there, I went to Tampa, and so lo and behold, there's not another monarch butterfly. And then I come to Miami, and there's one again. So that impacted me a whole lot. So I decided to call my cousin, and I'm like, Rosa, you're not going to believe this. I had a monarch butterfly following me from the hospice center to Jeremy's house, to my other son's house, to my daughter-in-law's, and all the way to Miami. And she's like, really? She says, you're not going to believe this. I said, what? She says, I had a monarch butterfly flying around my feet when I got home. As a matter of fact, I took a picture. She actually sent me the picture. So I was like, this monarch butterfly was watching it. It was like Jeremy was making sure we all made it home. So when I created Jeremy's Unity Flight, I didn't know between the eagle or the monarch or which one I was going to choose. So I asked ChatGPT to give me a logo with a monarch and give me a logo with the eagle, because I was going to decide which one I wanted to go with. And lo
Mhm.
and behold, the ChatGPT doesn't come back with a logo with both. When I saw that, I just kind of like jumped back, and I asked ChatGPT, how could this represent my vision and my company and everything I've got? And ChatGPT came back with the fact that the eagle represents Western medicine, and its preciseness, and how the butterfly represents the holistic world, and together the unity and flight. That was like, oh my God, here it is. So that's how that logo came about.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that. That was incredible. That really was. And hearing you talk about that, my brother saw a lot of eagles after my dad passed and still does. And we're also indigenous Native American Indians, so that really has a significant meaning. And then my sister will share that story with you one day about the monarch butterfly that we were at the I'll tell briefly. We were at the cemetery, and we had a mutual friend that had passed away, and my sister wasn't able to make it for the funeral, so I took her to the cemetery one day. And we were trying to laugh and talk about him and whatnot. And my sister was making these comments, and because this mutual friend, he was like the caregiver for everybody, like he took care of everybody, like he was like that atlas. And so my sister was talking trash, and all of a sudden I was facing this way, my sister's facing like this, so she didn't see a black butterfly went behind her, turned around like this, and went psh, popped her right in her forehead. And so
Wow.
yes, and so when you're saying that, and I'm saying, oh my goodness, like I can 100% relate to you. So that is incredible. And what a beautiful story. So thank you so much for that. So in concluding for the night, reluctantly, um, I want to ask you two more questions, and then we'll go from there. So the first one is, I always ask my guests to please fill in the blank. Be always destined for blank. So what would that blank be for you?
Always destined to help others. Always destined to help others. I believe that that's where God's put me in this planet, is help as many people as I can along the way.
Absolutely. So I hope you guys were able to hear that. Always be that, well, be always destined to help others. That is important. That's a part of what we do here, the reason why we're here in front of all of you this evening. And if you had a piece of advice to leave with us tonight, what would that be?
What you focus on expands. If you focus on the bad, bad happens. If you focus on the good, beautiful and amazing things come to play. And
Yes,
it's all about changing your perspective. When you change it, there's a shift that takes place. And
absolutely.
yes, we all go through different grief, but basically that's my one thing is look at the beauty and the love and focus on the good.
Absolutely. You see, that's why we gravitated to each other because we have all these similarities. That was absolutely beautiful. So I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna thank you for joining, and if you'll just don't leave, but if you just hold off backstage. And also when I post, if you'll go into the comments and put your the various ways on social media that others can reach out to you, and I greatly appreciate that. So thank you for
Okay.
joining. This is not the last time you will be seeing Miss Rosie Lastra. I promise you. Um, but just hang out backstage and wait for me, and I'll be there with shortly. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so that was incredible. That was amazing. That phenomenal. This her story, her testimony. Um, she shared with transparency, vulnerability, and it hasn't even been a year. So I thank her so much for being here tonight. And my hope is that something that you heard resonated. If you um feel the need to reach out to her, please do so, or please check out her website as well. They are doing amazing work, and this is just the beginning. And speaking of beginnings, before we close for the out for the night, on September the 3rd, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the next masterclass, Boss Masterclass, will be going down, and it's the 5 key considerations to cultivate a perspective mindset to transform your life. Some of which what we were talking about tonight. So the link will be dropped tonight by midnight. It's on first come first base situation. And now, when the seats fill up, don't be calling and asking me, could I squeeze you in? So once you catch that link, by all means, please go ahead and register. 5 key considerations to cultivate a perspective mindset. In this day and age, we need to have a perspective mindset. We need to go from that fixed mindset that some of us have to more of that perspective mindset. And I will be giving you the 5 key considerations in order to be able to do so. So, with that being said, you'll also see that on my bio tonight as well. With that being said, I want to thank you all for joining. Again, welcome. I see the new viewers, some that I've gone to high school with. So, thank you so much. New viewers that I haven't seen before, but please, by please don't make this your last. Jumping back into the comments so you don't lose anything. Again, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate each one of you. I see you, I feel you, I hear you. I am grateful for you. With that being said, be safe, stay well. God bless you all, and bye for now. P.S. Every morning before 9 a.m., I drop a Boss Warrior Queens video. And it has to do with positivity, affirmations, letting you know that you're not alone. So please make sure that you watch them and comment as well. Definitely have to, we got some limitations now on the IG platform. So we're really trying to get up to the 1,000 marker so that I can continue to go live. I do my pop-ups live from anywhere, and right now I have to use another platform in order for me to come live to you on IG. So if there's anyone that you feel could really uh, resonate from something that's been said tonight, please share this with them as well. Be safe, stay well. God bless you all, and bye for now.